Alright, what is going on everybody today? My name is Ash and I thank you very much for clicking on my video today. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the different majors that I believe to be the most frat. So, granted, what you major in is not the end-all be-all for who you are as a person, and it's perfectly fine to have a passion for things that may not be as common among society. But if you are rushing chapters, this definitely will be a part of the first impression you make, and as the saying goes, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So, granted, you also may be able to redeem yourself if you have a good chill to pull ratio, but it's always better to be off to a good start regardless. And if you currently are a pledge, your major very well could play into the way that the actives look at you and also the way they treat you. And if you currently are an active, it's never too late to switch your major. Worst case scenario, it might add some years, but what's wrong with that? Anyways, if you have any opinion on if you agree with me or if I'm wrong, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And also with all these majors, I'm going to be talking about how they translate to frat activity, the lifestyles of the professionals, and my personal experiences with seeing who I knew majored in these. Coming in at number 5, this is going to be education. Now, you might be thinking, education? That's not frat. But let's just go ahead and think about this for a moment, okay? Try to remember some different teachers you had while you were growing up. How many of them made you wonder if they were just a complete animal back in the day, but are now past their prime? I remember back when I was a kid, some teachers that I had who were super chill with me and my friends, they would always have very casual conversations with us, and it always felt like we were talking to them as person to person and not as a teacher to a student. But for the sake of their professionalism, they never went too much into detail. But as the young rebel that I was, I could just catch a sense they were hiding some details and that they had a good time when they were younger. A teacher's job is to educate the youth so that they can go on to be members of society, similar to how actives in the chapter educate the pledges on to become active members and what the values of the chapter are. And then eventually those same pledges are going to go on to be actives who will then in the future educate the new pledges. I put this on the list because I remember there were a few guys back in my house who were education majors and they gave me some of that vibe. Let's make mistakes now and then go on to influence the youth. This definitely would have been higher on the list, but there are a lot of teachers out there who are complete nerds as well as some other teachers who are complete Karens. Being a teacher is great for someone who's past their prime and who is ready to contribute to society by educating the next generation. But you're gonna have to deal with some people on the way who really should have majored in something where they don't have to interact with other people. Coming in at number 4 on the list, accounting. So accounting is studying the history of money and transactions associated with it. It's kind of like when you wake up on a Sunday morning, you find out you spent $100 and you're trying to go back and figure out where it was you did that. You're going through your online banking, your credit card account, trying to look at all the transactions, figuring out the places you went to, trying to figure out how you dropped all that cash in one night. If you've had that moment before, then you were doing some personal accounting. And also, being that this is a business major, that definitely gives it a head start. Business school is full of frat guys. But accountants also make a lot of money. Making a lot of money is frat. Of all business majors though, this definitely is on the nerdier side of things. But if you know any accounting majors yourself, you definitely are aware that there's no shortage of Greeks. And if you think that being a nerd major means that it's not frat, you're completely wrong in that. You see that tall, skinny guy over there with the glasses who's rocking the pocket tee that has the letters on it? He's probably an accounting major who's gonna make complete bank when he graduates. These are the guys that every chapter needs to keep their chapter GPA high enough so that their nationals doesn't disown them and so that the university does not kick them off. In my experience, accounting majors typically are on the quieter side of things during the day, but as the sun goes down, so do the drinks. Talk about a bunch of guys who work hard and play even harder. Coming in at number 3, we have pre-law. Fact, 40 out of 47 U.S. Supreme Court justices since 1910 belong to a fraternity. Another fact, 76% of Congress, so both House representatives and senators, also are alumni of fraternities and sororities. When you're in college, Greeks control a majority of the social life. That's no secret. You see the frats throwing the crazy parties, you see the sorority girls hanging out with the frat guys. And based on these facts that I just showed you, they also control society once they graduate. When you are in your chapter, if you want to have a position of power, whether that's chapter president, chapter treasurer, or the pledge master, you have to run for that position and be voted into it by your peers. This is a small-scale preparation for a real election running for a public office. And besides holding public office, pre-law is frat because if you become a lawyer, you're able to influence a judge and a jury on a legal decision, which is similar to when you try to convince your university that you shouldn't be kicked off campus. Pre-law would have probably been higher on this list, but there are a lot of weird people who study pre-law. These are are the people in the major I'm talking about who think they were natural born leaders, or that I want to make a difference. Number 2, we have marketing. Another business major coming in at number 2 here. So this list has a little bit of business majors, as you can tell. And just like any other business major, they're always going to be stacked up with frat guys and frat girls. So what is marketing? Marketing is communicating and delivering offers that create value, whether it's a product, whether it's a service. And for example, when you're rushing a chapter, you're marketing yourself as to why you would be a good fit in this chapter. And if you are a member, you're marketing your own chapter as to why it would be a good fit for the rushies or why it wouldn't be. And because marketing requires the ability to know what people want as well as be a people person, because this major involves a lot of interactions, that's also why it's so high on this list. Being in a Greek chapter that has over 100 members would not make sense if you're not a people person or don't know how to communicate. And then why do people even join Greek organizations to begin with? For networking. Whether it's to make friends, make connections, create a social life, or create a pipeline of post-grad professionals. The way companies use marketing in the real world is through network connections. It could include social media, TV, radio, you get the point. Marketing requires connections, and Greek life provides those connections. And then coming in at number 1, this should be no guess, finance. Did you really expect anything other than finance to be number 1 on the list? I am a little bit biased because I'm a finance bro myself, but I cannot deny the truth that I'm a part of. So accounting is the history of money, studying where it went. Finance is the opposite. Finance is the future of money, deciding where it's going. And obviously the real frat move would be to just throw it into a meme stock such as Dogecoin or GameStop. But have you ever taken a finance class? And is it any exaggeration that 70% of the class belongs to a fraternity or a sorority? I remember my finance classes. You literally would look around and there'd be letters everywhere. And not to mention that frats literally have a treasurer who manages the chapter's money. Do you really think that you would trust a Melvin managing other people's money? Not a chance. I remember plenty of brothers who went on to be financial advisors, investment bankers, financial analysts, actuaries, and real estate agents. And plenty of people who just invest regularly for their own pleasure. Said it before, business school is full of frat guys and frat girls, but within business school, finance is usually the more popular major, where a lot of these bros end up. And not to mention how the jobs in finance have incredible growth potential if you have the network, which being in a frat can clearly help provide. So I talked about a second ago how there was a lot of frat people in my finance classes. I remember there were some individuals in the class who clearly were not a part of any organization, and they would always sit alone in between the groups of the frat guys and frat girls, and it just seemed like they didn't belong. They didn't really seem to fit in. But anyways, as I was saying, that is why finance is number 1. But that's the list today, and this is just my opinion. So if you disagree with me, please leave a comment. No need to get mad. If there was anything you would do to make this list any different, please make sure to leave a comment on that below. And also tell me what your top 5 would be, if yours would be similar or completely different. But besides that, if you think I totally nailed it today, go ahead and just leave a like on the video. I would greatly appreciate it. Please make sure to subscribe to see more videos like this. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching the video today. Take it easy, bros.